There we go.
One of the reasons.
All right, we're so excited. We're super excited that we get the opportunity to be with all of you guys.
It's okay. It's a podcast. We can do that.
We can do that. Yeah. Tasha was clowning on my dancing and singing, which does not exist, by the way.
Oh, no, it exists. It's just real
bad.
special.
It is real bad.
Special.
It is. But hey, for everyone that's joining us on YouTube and Facebook, we're super excited that you would join us for the Greater Everyday Podcast. And now we are live. We're so excited we get this opportunity.
And we're back again.
We're back again. You saw us a little bit earlier. We just went through an amazing 7 weeks of looking at cultural humility. I want to encourage you to check out the podcast, see what we're talking about, see what's going on. 7 incredible couples from the Joneses all the way through to the Oliveras talking about just their conviction, their perspective. Really great to get to know them. But there's some amazing things that are happening in the Potomac Valley Church that God's just been blessing us with in incredible ways. We've been praying for the past 3 years now, almost 4 years, for workers. At 9:38 in the morning and 9:38 at night, we pray for God to send us workers. And we've been praying for all the different generations within our community, and God's really been moving in an amazing way. And one of those things was a year ago. Yep. Anton actually had this idea like 3 years ago, but we started a year ago.
Yeah, perfect timing. Right when
the pandemic happened, we got this podcast started, and here we are having another real conversation about real issues. I want to welcome everyone to the Greater Everyday Podcast, a place where we demonize no one, we deify no one, we just deal with the issues as they are. And a big issue is our children. It's our future.
Yeah.
So what?
So if future reference, when you say we don't demonize anyone, don't point your hands at your wife.
Oh yeah, that's good. Don't do it. I'm sorry. We demonize no one. Don't be pointing at people, man. You're right about
I'm glad
that.
you're focused on not demonizing me.
For the next one.
Deifying me. I appreciate that.
Hey, you got it. But if I were to mess up in one way, deifying would be better than demonizing. Maybe. But
in trouble, both of those.
And either one would get me in trouble. But my name's Will, and this is my brother.
I'm Anton. Pleasure to meet you.
And here's my lovely bride, who is not demonized or deified. She's my diva though. And this is Tasha right here.
Glad to be here.
And in studio, we've got Dr. Shelia. And on the screen right here, streaming live, we've got Mr. Horace Lambert III. So super excited to have them with us. This is absolutely a dream come true to have the two of you guys here with us on the Greater Everyday Podcast. And welcome to the Greater Everyday Podcast. We just want to start off by asking you, Dr. Shelia, tell us a little bit about yourself. And welcome.
That can be a lot.
That's good.
Oh, wow. Thanks for having me here, though. I'm really feeling blessed and just grateful that you guys, ask us to come on to share about ourselves as well as Blue Ribbon. I come from a family of real humble beginnings. There were 8 of us.
Wow. Okay.
8. And we were like stair steps in our family. Parents, mom was 15, daddy 19 when they actually started the family. But it was a great learning experience. We got to learn how to share. Take turns. And be very patient.
Yes. Did you say 8 children?
8 children.
Oh, yeah.
And where are you in the 8? Where are you in the 8?
I'm number 7.
Wow.
Yes. Mom thought she was done when, she had me.
Surprise.
Wow.
Yes. It was a surprise. My mom was sick. She went to the hospital, actually did an exploratory surgery, only to find out that she was pregnant with my sister.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. She's adorable, cutest little thing. But my mom was gone. I was a little one on her knee, and then she didn't come back after she went to the doctor. So that was a lot, feeling quite abandoned. Then she brought home this cute little baby doll, which I actually thought was my baby doll. She got there. But we're all close family. Only one boy. And he is definitely
7 girls and 1 boy.
7 girls and 1 boy.
Wow.
Poor dad,
Wow.
I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Definitely outnumbered.
Absolutely. But I think my brother's very spoiled. He wouldn't say that.
So he got the good. He
got
the good
loved.
stuff.
I mean, 7 sisters.
Yeah, he got the good stuff.
Yeah, he did. He really did. Yes. But he, you know, my dad was very giving. One who was really into presents and gifts and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So we always felt really taken care of,
Mhm.
you know, in that way. And so we were able to take that. And I think from that, we are all very giving, hardworking. My dad was very hardworking.
Mhm.
Mom stayed home for a long time until I was
Yeah.
like in 6th grade. And she went to work. I was very upset about that.
I'm sure you were.
Very. It's like, oh, you can't do that. I need you at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, but grateful for all the lessons that, you know, we've learned. And it was tough. We didn't know we were poor, you know,
Yeah.
at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Our neighbors thought we were rich, and I'm thinking we had nothing. But
Yeah.
you know, it was great. It was a great time that
And
we had.
did you grow up here in
Um,
Virginia?
Norfolk.
Norfolk, Virginia. Okay.
Yes, Norfolk, Virginia. They are all my life. Yes.
Wow,
it was
wow.
awesome. Northview Pilot. We were like all cheerleaders at Northview High School.
All of you?
They say that, but there were 3 who were not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but yes. And then left Northview High School, and I was in the arts program that they had. So half day I went to ODU for ballet.
Nice.
So I was on ballet scholarship, and had enjoyed my time at ODU, and went on to University of Virginia from
Yeah.
there, and got a degree in administration for early childhood education,
Mm.
and went on and got my doctorate at Nova Southeastern University.
Wow.
The medical university at first in Florida.
Mhm.
So finished up there. Yeah.
So
Wow.
what made you go into that field? How did you know that was the field for you?
Well, I really didn't think I was going to teach. Back in the day, it's like, oh, I wouldn't be able to afford to take care of myself if I
Mhm.
became a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, I tried to steer away from that, but I kept being drawn back to it. My mom said I would just sit all my doll babies along and I would teach them all.
Wow.
And then we had a foster home behind us, and I would go there and I would teach all of the kids there.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. But she thought I would be a lawyer.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had no idea why my mom thought that I would become. And she says, I plead a good case. I do all those things. But
Wow.
teacher I became. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
That is really pretty. That's amazing. That was just kind of in you
It was
from the
just in
beginning.
there. Yes.
It was, although I tried to push it away for
Right.
the sake of money,
Right.
you know, but God is like, no, that's not happening.
Right.
Yeah. And so many years ago, I don't know how old I was. When I was 8,
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to church with my grandma. She was a missionary. And so loving and knowing about God at the age of 8, I knew that there was a God.
Yeah.
And I knew that he loved me, that he would always be with me,
Yeah.
that he would always take care of me.
Mm.
And so as I grew up, I went to church with my mom every day of the week. I think we were in church.
I believe it.
Choir rehearsal, usher board meetings, and it was just every day. And then getting to college, just trying to figure out who is God. Where is the God I knew as a child? He seemed to have, there's a lot of cloudy things, muddiness occurred.
Yeah.
But thank God, I was probably 25 when I found him. And I always say meeting Jesus for the second time.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
But never, ever, I told him that time, Lord, if you save me, I will never leave you again. And so it's been a great journey, just knowing God, loving God, and doing and following God. So even for education, I was telling my son, when you make that commitment and you tell God, okay, this is what you'll do, I'll do whatever you say, you have to mean it.
You got to be ready.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because God's gonna hold you to that.
Yes, he will.
And
Now-
boy, did he ever,
Wow.
I don't know if you knew that when I was in school, first teaching, and then became a principal. And my last 3 years there, we were a blue ribbon. We won that honor of being a blue ribbon school. So we were like one of 243 schools in the United States
Wow.
that received that award.
Yeah.
And then I was nominated 1 out of 9. There were 9 principals, and we received a Terrell Bell Award for outstanding leadership.
Wow.
That was wow. It really was. It was great. So I'm like, okay, I want to stay a principal another year.
Yes.
But God is like, that's not what I want you to do. And I was like, come on, God, let me stay. And I tell you, the worst year of my life.
Oh,
So,
no.
yes, it was. Anything that could go wrong went wrong. And that's when God, because he had given me this vision of this school that he wanted me to create. But I'm like, not right now. God, this is good stuff. I mean, I'm getting awards.
Look at me.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to the White House, you know, checking Arnie Duncan. This is great stuff.
Wow.
And you want me to leave now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God does that though.
He
But
does.
But I'm amazed by how God has moved for you to be able to follow this vision that God's given you and to be able to do it with your son.
Yes.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
what an incredible kind of family story.
Yes.
So we'd love to hear a little bit from you, Mr. Horace. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. You have this opportunity to, you know, I've noticed in all the interactions, you know, you talk about Dr. Shelia, but Dr. Shelia is also your mom, which is really, so you were one of those children, one of her earliest students. And this is your first teacher. So, and now
Definitely.
you're an educator yourself. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, yeah. And so I'll start off by saying that I definitely pushed teaching away as much as I could. Always being in the schools and always helping out. And I was like, when it is my choice, I will not step foot in a school building. But similarly, as I would go to school, you know, I always found it interesting to be able to take a difficult concept and to break it down for someone else and making it easy. And for me, I never saw that as, you know, teaching. I just figured I would just do that along the way, you know, as I went into my career. And so when I went to South Carolina State University, shout out to the Bulldogs. I was a medical physics major. And so medical physics is treating diseases using radiation. So most of the time it's cancer. And so I had the opportunity to go to different schools.
Thank you for explaining that. Like, seriously.
Yeah, so definitely a habit. I had to always explain that.
All right, great.
Difficult concept into a simple way.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was modeling right there too.
So yeah, it was fun. I had the opportunity to. I was at Hampton University for an internship working at their Proton Therapy Institute. So that was research on seeing if we could kill cancer cells using a polarized beam. I was able to do some research at Vanderbilt University, which ended up being published. That was treating prostate cancer using dynamic arc therapy compared to other treatments. And University of Rochester was able to get involved up there. And it was risk analysis and stereotactic radiosurgery. Just all about the different steps that you take. And we had to be very specific in the research, and it was brain surgery with radiation to make sure different mistakes didn't happen along the way.
Wow.
And so after that, I went into the PhD program at Hampton University, met there again. And so that they gave me a few projects, but that was also fun. And seeing if we called it GEM, it was a gas electron multiplier, but we were trying to see if we could better image in real time different radiation treatments. So for example, if someone was being treated with radiation and the patient moved or something like that, that in real time, the machine could adjust because it's being imaged at the same time. So I was able to get involved with that as well. All of these things, for me, it kind of fed. I always enjoyed, again, finding problems, finding things that are wrong, doing the hard thing and trying to see how we could solve it. One of my greatest claims, I was presenting research on, and that was the killing cancer cells with the polarized beam. We're at University of Florida. And my goal was, because, we go to these conferences and all these presentations, and unless you did the research, you really had no idea what anybody was talking about. And so I thought,
right now.
if we're all,
Right now,
exactly.
I've done no research. I heard rats, I heard cancer, and I heard electron.
And that makes sense. I'm like, man, go ahead.
The only thing that keeps going on in my mind right now is this brother's smart right here.
I know. Smart brother.
Smart here.
brother.
This is a smart man right here. I mean,
I'm like, all I was thinking was brain-based education. So it helps if you have a brain to be able to do the brain-based stuff.
yeah, I'm like,
So that's very helpful.
This has been my
Oh my
life. I've gotten to
gosh.
listen to him every day since he was 2.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
This
See,
has been the
this is-
conversation.
Wow.
This explains your grandson.
Yeah,
See,
it's your son.
Yeah. So we're gonna come back there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming.
We're coming back.
Keep going. Keep
Okay,
going.
so-
I'm enjoying the conversation.
okay.
So you're at the conference.
Speaking of what's going on here, at the conference, my goal was, I said, okay, how can I take the research that I've done and be able to break it down so it can be understood by someone who has not done the research, who's not in the physics concentration. And so it was fun. It took a lot of time, but I just we're just taking so many words and just simplify. And so while we were there, it was a mom. She was taking her son around, and I think he's elementary school, just looking at the different presentations and whatnot. Hundreds of presentations there, and they come up to me and he said that mine was his favorite presentation because it was the one that he could understand. And I was like, you know what?
Wow.
That is the goal. I also won first place there, but that was totally the goal.
Right.
You know,
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so even when, just fast forward and, when I was at the Proton Center doing research there in classes, I became a Christian when I was in college. And so I was more so leading the ministry on my side of the water and in the PhD program. And it was difficult trying to balance both. I would either be doing great in my studies and the ministry would never see me, or I'd be spending time with the ministry and helping people, and my grades would fall. And so I was sitting going by, and I said, man, I really wanted to help people. And so at the time, I had, through a lot of just asking, getting advice, I made the decision, say, okay, I'll take a break from the medical physics program, and I'll be able to focus more so on the ministry over here. And the funny part about it, I was thinking through, and I was talking to my mom and my father, and I said, what can I do where I can use my skills, but I'll also be able to have time for the ministry? And they were like, well, have you thought about teaching? And so as much, right.
I thought about it and no.
No.
Oh man. So, but I ended up really, really enjoying it. And so just transferring and I started off teaching high school in one of the inner city schools in Portsmouth. And I just really loved being able to get involved and again, breaking things down so they could understand it. And then I was with the teen ministry. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could teach middle school and really get into the lives of my, of the ministry and know what they deal with when they're at school. And so I concluded that probably the strongest Christians are definitely in middle and high school because they have to go through so much, at least when we go to work, it's professional. When they're at school, people don't care, And so it allowed me to really get to see spiritually, what they go through, but also just kind of building my craft and helping people to understand and then seeing the things that were missing, from high school and middle school. I substituted, a class in college, but to see what are the fundamental things that are missing at the younger ages that if they were to get those things by the time they get to me in middle school, or I did some tutoring in elementary school, that, you know, they'd be set up for success. And so I believe that was the important thing when I saw Dr. Holas studying out the brain-based learning strategies and applying them to preschool, just to see, you know, stereotypically we think, oh, they're young, wait till later. But we learned that that's when their brains are sponges, and it's the most important time to really feed them. And a lot of schools at the time were going off of warm bodies. And so the goal was just to have them around people. But they were noticing that, hey, these kids who are going to preschool, there's no difference than somebody just starting in first grade, but it's because the educational part wasn't there. And so I love Blue Ribbon because they're able to get the warm bodies, but also it's strategic and research-based on the education that they need to set them up for success. So it's kind of a roundabout of how I get to where I am now and helping out.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's great, son.
That's incredible. So are you married? Do you have kids? Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, so I am married, and we have a just turned 3 April 8th. That's the grandchild that they were speaking of.
Yes, yes.
He gets to benefit from his mother teaching at Blue Ribbon, his grandmother leading Blue Ribbon, and he's at Blue Ribbon. So, you know, so he's, you know, I'm not bragging or anything. He is extremely intelligent.
He really is.
How did this come to be?
I know.
Were there certain things put in place to make sure that a young person would succeed?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listen. Okay, so we know that your son is extremely smart. And here's the thing. Other people want their kids to be smart too. So can you give us an example? All right. So we were talking to your mom, Dr. Holas, earlier today, and she was sharing a story about how your son got asked the question and what his answer was. So what was that question?
He brought in his favorite pillow for show and tell. And so his teacher asked him, so Liam, is your pillow living or non-living? And he said, my pillow is non-living. And she asked, well, how do you know that? And he said, because it does not reproduce and it does not excrete.
That's
we're
good to
like,
know.
is he 3?
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, like, that's good to know.
Right. And she looked at me and I said, I didn't share that with him.
So did you teach him that? Did he learn that from you or from your wife?
I did not, you know, sometimes we do not know where he gets some of his information. One thing I will share, you know, with him, and, you know, he has his tablet and we have it set up, you know, so he can go on his kid things, but he loves going on the educational programs, the ABC Mouse, and he loves going up there learning things. Every now and again, he'll be on an app that's speaking in Spanish. It's so funny. But it's interesting. He has this desire to learn. And I think just, you know, we've been able to feed it and push him in that direction to where, and which is the goal for everyone at Blue Ribbon, to get them in that autonomous way. And of course, they're young, so you still guide them. But in a sense, they get to experience learning a little bit on their own.
Yeah. And so Liam never goes on. Liam is my grandson. But he does not go on like a preschool site. He always wants, no, Grandma, 2nd grade. I was like, you're 2. At that age, he was 2.
Wow.
And he would know, click. And he knew how to do that. And he's solving the 2nd grade math problems. I'm like, wow. Yes. And so I'm trying to work the laptop and, you know, it's moving slow. And he goes, don't touch it, Grandma. It's buffering. I'm like, what?
Okay. That's good to know. So
yes.
I'm glad his family's on our side.
I know. It'd be dangerous if they're on the other side.
I know.
You guys are working for the forces of evil. We'd be in trouble.
It would be.
I'm glad. I'm glad your family's on our side.
Yes.
Please stay on the side of the light.
Yes.
So let's talk about this, because we're at this crazy time in history. There's a lot that's going on in the world.
Yes.
And we've been talking a lot about this over the past year. And I think it'd be helpful if we talk. We want to kind of give you a little bit of context of our broader community that's been walking with us over the course of the year. So if you can just throw up some of the stats, so you have a sense of kind of who you're talking to as we're talking about Blue Ribbon, because our goal as believers is to really impact the world that we live in. But that impact has to start really young.
Right.
And the goal is definitely to have wide impact, but also to have really deep impact. And so that's one of the things that I know I'm personally really excited about with Blue Ribbon.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit, kind of, if you want to just walk them through kind of where we are, just as a community here. So we, over the course of the past year, the majority of the folks that are listening with us are in the United States. About 84% of the folks that are listening are in the United States. And then we've got this contingent that we're still trying to figure out that's in Ireland. So we've got like the next largest group is in Ireland. And then we've got a growing group in Canada and then the UK. Lots of love for all of our Bahamian friends. And then we've got a connection in Namibia that we're not really sure about, and in France and in Norway. We definitely have a number of friends from Indonesia and from Nepal. And so those are kind of the top 10 countries that are listening. In terms of the cities, we've got a strong contingent here in Dale City and Woodbridge. We've got some folks in Clifton, of course, with the Irish family that we've got there. They're in Dublin, Ireland, and then right here in Lake Ridge and Fredericksburg and Lorton and then in Montclair. And then we're just super grateful for the love from San Antonio and from LA. So we are reaching people broadly, but we're largely an American audience. And we're from all different backgrounds. In terms of the feedback that we've been getting over the course of the year, but we're all concerned about the future. And so your educational approach engages this question of where are we going and how are we going to invest in the future? How does Blue Ribbon Results Preschool work? So how does this work? So we are super inspired by your story, your heritage, your love for God, your love for your husband, your love for your kids, your love for your grandkids, your love for community. But talk to us a little bit about how does Blue Ribbon actually work?
Blue Ribbon. Wow. It truly does begin with the Bible. And using the way Jesus actually taught the disciples, studying that out and imitating it. So taking the Bible and translating it into English instructional language. And using what we call brain-based strategies. For example, one would just be comparison and contrasting. Using graphic organizers, even at the age of 2.5 and 3, to compare two things, whether it's Elmo and PJ Masks or yellow tennis shoes versus church shoes. But meeting kids where they are and then helping them to grow from there. And so we know that research tells us that if we're going to really bring up children and train them, and that's different from teaching, which the Bible is very clear on. We do a lot of teaching in school, but sometimes we don't do the training. And training looks like someone who is going to become a marathon runner or they're winning the Olympics. So that is ongoing training. You're very diligent and working at it all the time. And so in a classroom, that looks like we provide at least 7 different experiences for a child to master one skill. So not just one time and then, they didn't get it, let's move on, or let's send it home for homework. No, we know and understand based on how the brain learns that child needs at least 7 different experiences, different ways to be able to grasp that concept, because we all learn differently and at different rates, different times. And so we focus on individualized instruction. Our curriculum is developed by me. So looking at for kindergarten SOL, so I've taken the SOLs,
Mhm.
4-year-olds, foundation blocks, and if this sounds foreign, these are the various objectives and standards that the state of Virginia requires and say, by this time, this is what kids should know and be able to do.
Mhm.
So even the 2-year-olds, they have milestones, what they call milestones. And then at 3, there's the initiative for them, which is the 3-year-old. And so we, looking at all of those different objectives, then I came up with lesson plans.
Okay.
And then lesson plans ended up developing quarterly assessments so that we can know this is what we taught. Did the children actually master that?
Okay.
And so that's very different because you don't find that in preschool and definitely not starting with the age of 2. So we use data to drive the instruction.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So that's how we get awesome, really awesome results. So our children, for example, in October, I got called from the first grade teacher because we had a big problem there. We had 7 students from Blue Ribbon who, when I say from Blue Ribbon, they started in the 2.5 or 3-year-old program. And then we had 2 other children who made up our first grade, and they came from various other schools, districts. Our kids, by the time they were end of October, were already reading at 2.5, grade 2, not 2.5, grade 2
Wow.
to grade 3.
So these are kids coming
are
from
first
preschool
graders.
that go
Kindergarten.
into, once we
Yes.
went into first grade,
Right.
Gotcha.
1 month in, month and a half in, they're already at
So
second
bored.
and third. Okay.
They were bored. However, the kids who came from the neighboring districts and the schools, they were right where I guess the school decided they needed to be because they
Gotcha.
were at the beginning of first grade.
Okay.
And so the teacher's like, what in the world, what are we going to do? And I said, we have to meet kids where they are. And so we developed, I had to shift it and actually create lesson plans that would meet them exactly where they were at second grade so that they could continue on. And right now they're, oh my goodness, in reading, they're at 5th grade, spelling and writing. And so very just great results. I don't think it's rocket science, but it's really using what we know and actually doing it. And I think that's the big difference.
That's
We know
huge.
what to do and actually do it.
So this is an actual program that you've actually run, that you've actually developed, and that you've actually tested in the field over 7-year period
Correct.
in Norfolk. That's
Yes.
coming to Dumfries. When?
Yes.
When is it coming to Dumfries?
June 1st.
June 1st.
June 1st. That's
37 days.
Almost here.
Oh, yeah.
37 days.
Oh, yeah.
37 days away.
Okay. So that means on the 36th day,
Right.
we would have open house.
Open house.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Here we
Wow.
go.
Yes. I'm getting excited. This is great. Yes.
Wow. So can you give us a little preview of what the summer program might look like?
Sure.
What should we expect?
A lot of fun.
All right.
That's how our babies learn.
Right.
They don't even know they're learning. They're buffering or
Oh.
excrete and reproduction because
Mhm.
they're having so much fun. So we have them, our 7-week program, actually it's 10, 8, 9.
Mhm.
That's the range.
Yes.
But anyway, those numbers, they throw me off. But it's a literacy-based program.
Mhm.
And so we came up with that. And when I say literacy-based, it's the Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. And so why in the world would we pick rhyming? Well, because when kids start off kindergarten, they have this, what they call the PALS test, and they have to know all of the rhyming, the nursery rhymes. If they do not do well, guess what?
What?
They're in the lowest group at school in reading. And a lot of times when they start in that lower reading group,
They stay there.
They stay there.
they're 5th grade.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so we want to make sure we prepare them. We already know what's going to happen. So it's not like it's a secret. It
Yeah.
happens everywhere.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we prepare them. So we have it laid out that they experience a different nursery rhyme each week.
Gotcha.
And so it's a curriculum that's based around that. And then we also have like Noah's Ark. So we have a a Bible verse, a Bible story that
Right.
takes place each week. And so I love the fact that, God tells us that we can get great instruction from his word. So they learn the sight words, they learn their letters and alphabets, all from the memory scripture.
Wow.
They learn how to role play and
That's amazing.
sing
Wow.
That's amazing.
and act. They learn the word of God. We got the nursery rhymes. And so they will learn math and measuring things to cook so they don't know. A cup? Yes, open your hand. So they're getting their colors. That shape. Did you know that was like a round? These questions, and you're just, and you let them know what color jeans they are. You're wearing blue jeans, or do you want to wear your yellow jeans? What color shoes are you going to wear today? But really engaging and building through choice. So one of the things that as parents sometimes we don't do, and African-American parents, we can be really stuck on, you do what I tell you to do.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Wait.
You do what
That's-
I tell you to do.
Yeah, because
Better have me reevaluating my whole life here now.
That's not what they're supposed to do.
I
Yeah,
know.
Oh, man, I didn't know that's
Children-
right.
Wait.
No.
What's going on?
Children
Yeah,
don't
we're
make
in trouble.
choices.
I ain't could be choosing. You're trying to tell me the children could choose the color that they
Yes. Yes.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is a thing.
Okay.
Yes,
That's good to
and
know. That's good to
especially-
know.
All right.
Or,
All right.
girls, definitely girls. Boys, not so much. I have not heard boys really complaining about picking their clothes out, but
Yeah, it's true.
oh, wow, 4 and 5,
Yeah.
we would have children upset in the morning. And I'm like, but what's going on? And their parents, I'm frustrated because they want to wear what they want to wear. And I was like, didn't you buy all the clothes? So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
So on Saturday or Sunday, you guys pick out what you're going to wear for the week. Don't let that be a thing in the morning before school. So parents, let's put this out there. Do not have those arguments and disagreements because it shuts down your children's brains.
Oh, yeah.
Also, they come in such a bad
Mood.
attitude, bad mood.
Mhm.
So it's not a good place for learning.
Mhm.
It really isn't. So I would ask parents, please don't do that.
So you're saying if
Yeah,
they
can I,
want to wear their pajamas, it's fine.
Well, don't put their pajamas in the drawer if you don't want that to be a part of it.
Yeah, there we go.
They're
about to say
choices,
that.
right? Yes.
Horace, I understand that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
as you were saying, the only thing I could picture in my mind was my son wanting to wear like his dragon costume to school or something like that. I'm like, no, I don't want to be that parent. But you,
I was
Okay.
that parent. I will
Yeah?
confess. But Horace, you wanted to share something. What did you
Yeah,
want to share?
well, she touched on it, and so we do that with Liam as well. Giving them choices, but giving them choices that you already approve of. And so,
Yes.
in their mind, they see like, oh man, I can make these choices, but you already know I approve of these choices. So wherever they go, you're okay with it. And so
Right.
that's the important
Yes.
part. You don't want to just give them choices and then you're upset when they choose the wrong one. Give them
That's
all
right.
correct choices.
You're scratching your
Wow.
head.
They know you're
Hey,
upset.
This is some deep stuff right here.
Yes.
So I want to ask a question because
we have a whole other pod coming.
We
I
do.
can already
Close.
touched on so many things.
They really have.
We have a whole nother pod. Just know that you're coming back.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
thing.
just saying that now. We're gonna talk about parenting.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We're gonna talk about parenting. Go
You-
ahead, ask your question. 'Cause
No.
I got one too. So you
Yeah,
ask your
no,
question.
for real. So I just want to ask a question here. So I'm already super inspired, and I was already very aware of this program. If you've got questions and you're listening to the podcast and you're following us on YouTube, you're following us on Facebook, you can feel free to go in the show notes. There'll be details about Blue Ribbon. More details will be coming out over the next 37 days. There'll be lots of different posts on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, about what's going on with Blue Ribbon. The location is right here in Dumfries, the newest location, but you guys also have a location that's been running over the past 7 years in Norfolk, which we're just blown away that we would be blessed in this area to have Blue Ribbon. But can I ask you, Horace, to tell me a little bit about how technology works? Because, so we've got this incredible engagement with, using the scriptures and learning and engagement and having fun. But how does technology work? Because a lot of young families who are making choices about preschool have, they want to make sure that there's an integration of technology in the classroom. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And funny, actually, today I just set up the laptops for the Dumfries location. But so we do have the laptops, and in that, and we have the touch screen as well. Just to help them with that interaction. Now, thankfully, I feel like a lot of parents help us out by their kids use their phones, so they already start getting familiar. With those things. So we get to help guide it a bit by having different applications, ABC Mouse, Starfall, and things like that on the laptops, where they get to, they see a bunch of animated things on the screen, and they can either drag and drop. They learn how the letters on the keyboard to press this number, press this letter. And so especially when, we see that we're definitely going to be, or we are in a technology-driven world. It's super exciting to get them used to the touch screen, how to interact with it. Even the gestures, it's funny. I was kind of thinking like, oh, well, can they? And so you even see like, the swipe up to go home, things like that. Their brains are literally sponges. So that's just a huge part, just thinking about the things that we interact on a daily basis. Let's introduce that to them now and allow them to learn how to productively use the technology. And so that's great as well. They learn from a young age that this technology is to be used for good. I can be very productive with it. But I say these things for them. They don't know that. For them, they're going on apps. They're tapping on the A, tapping on the B, dragging the C over. They're counting how many pizzas are in front of them. They have a little animated character, saying, touch the key that does this. And oh, that's a number 4, And so they're able to just make all those connections on the tablet. And I think the touchscreen just gives it that extra degree of interaction where they can either touch something, they can drag something, or they can use the keyboard. And so it's to a point where even for Liam, when they're in the play area, there's like a fake cell phone and there's a fake tablet, and he does not want to have anything to do with the fake technology. He's like, I need my technology to work.
But it wasn't
just introducing
technology. Son. It was not fake
Grandma,
technology.
what's this? What's this?
But what
don't do
was it?
Fisher Price here, Mom. Grandma.
I think that's what it was. It really was. But a lot of kids do like that. And so, but not Liam. So if your children are using real, like your technology at home, then they're expecting to use that
at school.
To school, absolutely.
Yeah,
yes, he refused to use the Fisher Price and what was the other one? So I said, "What should we purchase?" Yes,
Real
he's
stuff.
already talking about buffering, and he's showing me how to cut it on and off. And so, like, he goes, "Yes, he does. He does."
He knows the password, so.
Yes, and he told me what his parents' password.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, he
Parents,
watched.
be careful. Yeah,
He watched and saw the numbers, and
Grandma, make sure you use the uppercase and lowercase number.
So just want to be clear, this part is the real web. This is the dark web.
Is.
This is how Bitcoin works.
That's right. Yes.
So you guys had no idea he knew your password until he told Grandma.
Yeah. We saw him put it in. Nikita, my wife, she was going to set up the tablet for him. And he said, no, let me do it. And he just goes, boom, 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 boom. And I was like, well, I will not tell him what my password is.
No.
Right. You can't show him what your password is. You got to be ready.
Right.
Hey, so
yes, that's very true. When our combination to come into the house, we have one of the digital keypads. I've been locked out of the house too many times. And so just
tell Liam.
So for Liam, I have to kind of hide it a little bit, when I'm putting the digits in to get into the house, because I'm like, Liam will see that and start telling somebody, hey, this is how we get in.
He is 3.
Yeah,
that's when you know he's 3.
Could you imagine?
Yes.
You're going in your own house and you're like,
we can't be. It's like when you're at the ATM where you're like, I don't want nobody to see how to get into my bank account.
That's right.
Hey, this stuff is real.
It really is.
So, but this is, what's amazing to me is how the Holy Spirit's moved to bring y'all's family here,
Mhm.
and how the Holy Spirit's moved in y'all's family to be able to establish this school over the past 7 years, and now we have the privilege of having it here in our neighborhood, and there's something really special, I think, about where we live. This is the second largest jurisdiction in Virginia, and you're a Virginia family,
Mhm.
and this is you're planting this second location, this Blue Ribbon Results Preschool, our academy, right in Dumfries, and Dumfries is in Prince William County, which is the Virginia's first majority minority county. So there's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of very educated, very affluent, very engaged families, but there are also a lot of families that are going through a very difficult time, trying to make ends meet, trying to get things going, that have a lot of anxiety about, how is my child going to get educated?
Right.
When I've got to work 2 and 3 jobs.
Right, yeah.
So how early in the morning will a child with Blue Ribbon Results be able to come in, and how late in the afternoon? Like how is this a program that's kind of set up for just affluent families who can only do a mommy and me kind of 3 or 4 hours, or how does that work? Kind of give us the schedule.
Okay. So the recommended schedule, definitely for students who are 4, 5, would be that they attend full day,
Okay.
Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And full day is like 9 to 3. We do have before care,
Okay.
and that starts at 6:30.
Okay.
And then the regular program, like I said, begins at 9.
Okay.
And then from 3 to 6 is for working parents. So if children need to be there, but school ends at 3. And then we have a really robust, though, enrichment program between 3 and 6.
Okay.
So your recommended time is 9 to 3.
Correct.
So if families wanted to do the 9 to 3, they could do the 9 to 3
Absolutely.
Monday through Friday.
Right.
But what you're saying is if I work in DC, or if I work in and around the Northern Virginia area,
Right.
I could drop my child off as early as 6:30,
Correct.
and I could pick my child up as late as 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And they'd be learning all this kind of stuff 5 days a week.
Absolutely. You would know they are not watching television.
Okay.
They're not watching. No, absolutely not.
And for an example of even the after school enrichment, and it's funny, even times I've come in, we have keyboards. We have about between 5 to 10. But in after school, we have them learning how to, the basics of playing the piano. We're blessed to have someone who plays the piano. We're blessed to have someone who's really talented in art. And so in after school, she's teaching those fundamental skills, even in art, which, I have no skill. So I'm glad that we have someone who can. And, but, so the kids are just very engaged. They love it. I'm the science guy. And so when I come in, we're learning how to make slime and stuff like that, But it's definitely very engaging.
Yes. And we have foreign language in the summer. Last summer, we had Korean and French.
Wow.
Yeah, because we usually have Spanish all the time. And so we actually mixed it up. And the kids enjoyed it. I mean, it was great. Yes. Learning the alphabets, the culture, the music, the dance, all of that. Yeah. And the food, of course.
So you have vacancies now. So if someone were watching this on Facebook, watching this on YouTube, they live in Prince William County, they live in North Stafford or in Stafford, they could come to the location there in Dumfries, and their child could start June 1st.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
So let's say that I'm a parent. I mean, I am a parent, but my children are, they're kind of old.
Take that. It's
But
cool.
let's say I'm a parent.
We're not a parent of a preschooler.
Little one, and I go to the website. And I look and I see the prices and I go, I cannot afford that. What are my options?
Several options. We have like bi-monthly payment schedule. So if a parent cannot pay all at once, we could break that down for them. We also receive subsidy from the Virginia Department of Social Services.
All right.
We also have Child Care Aware, and that's our military families. But in Virginia, Governor Northern is doing an awesome job of trying to ensure that all preschoolers are either in public or private. And so there's a special, and had given that information and we could actually provide it.
Mhm.
But for parents to go on to for the state of Virginia to get assistance because
Okay.
they're literally giving money. They know the impact.
Early childhood
For
education.
early
is
childhood
everything.
education. Yeah. I mean, it's looking at even like the scores for fourth grade. We had 49% of our children not reading on grade level.
Mm.
That's horrible.
Mhm.
I mean, horrible. So we know that it all happens between 0 and 5.
Mm.
Because if a child is not sound with alphabets and phonemic awareness, knowing the sounds, knowing the letters, they have a rough time. I mean,
Yeah.
you're always giving them tutoring,
Yeah.
for the remainder.
Yeah.
And so we don't want, and it's hard. Kids know when they can't read. You're
Yeah.
talking about self-esteem,
Stressful. Yeah.
depression,
Yes.
don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
It's sad to see,
Yeah.
and so that's definitely what pushed and called me into, I was going to say the ministry, but it is like ministry to me,
Yeah.
education,
Yes.
making sure our children are prepared for the future. And it's not a slogan. It's something that's real and really needs to happen. And so at Blue Ribbon, I tell you, if your children are coming, it's like a guarantee. God guarantees it. I don't. But he has given us what we need to be able to transfer and to be able to teach so that every child who walks out of that door will be prepared.
Yep.
Since the beginning, we have always had students, at least one, who is diagnosed with autism or conduct disorder. And to see them walking out, or even now, you look in the classroom, you don't know who's who. Wow. It's totally God, the training that he has given us, the understanding of how the brain learns and the compassion that we have for all children. So it's, a lot of kids with ADHD, when I was a principal, they had a very difficult time in elementary school.
Yeah.
They were expected to sit in kindergarten or in pre-K 4 at a desk at one spot. And if you fidget, and I get it. There are a lot of kids in there. So they just want everybody quiet so that they can teach. Our classes are so different. You come in our preschool and our kindergarten classroom even. And that's my daughter. We have not talked about Marjorie. Marjorie is teaching. And my daughter, Marjorie, has ADHD. And so she knows the difficulty with learning and being still.
Yes.
And so I love going in her class. It's so much happening, but they are all learning. And it's like, wow, So she's like, Mom, did you see the PALS results? And I'm like, I haven't yet. You want to tell me about them? You just wait. We blew it off the ceiling, Mom. Just wait. But the kids came in. I mean, lots of different things were going on. We had children who were put out of their schools. We had kids whose parents were told that they would be in special education, self-contained classes. Just expect that for school. But no, don't expect that. God says no. And he gave us a different way to teach. And I mean, just to see, we had one student with autism and she had an assistant. And I put an assistant in there. And, she was supposed to be in first grade. And we're like, tell the parents, we're going to do this. Work with us and help us. But I tell you, by the time your child is at the end of the school year, she's going to be in her right grade. And so by January, she moved up to first grade.
Wow.
And after a couple of weeks, she was like, I don't want that assistant with me anymore.
Wow.
No assistant, please. No, send her back to kindergarten. Let her go and help them.
Wow.
And it's amazing to see her walking down the hallway. And it was, let me tell you, it's not like when she came in, honestly, running around and there was the hollering and she had to get used to the environment and be able to trust the adults, get to learn the children. And so we always ask parents, bring them in the summer so that they can get acclimated to their new friends, the new environment, the teachers, the teaching style. And then once we get to September, that transition is seamless and it's smooth and we get down to learning. But yeah, so if you're a parent and you want to have an awesome education, you want to do the best thing for your child.
Yes.
You
0 to
want
5.
to bring
Yes.
your little one
Yes.
to Blue Ribbon. So
Amen.
you want to go
Right.
on, Miss Mom.
Oh, you know what?
To the website.
You sold me. You sold
That's
me.
right.
That's all right. But you go to
I'm coming.
Blue Ribbon.
Are we gonna have another child?
.org.
But
it's okay.
Hey, just to be straight up, we live, we're local, we're global. I don't know about any other children, but you would be the person to answer those questions. Thank you for asking the question. I'm going to shift. And off air, we clearly need to have a family conversation. I do wish
I'm just saying, I wish that our kids got
I wish that our kids could. Yeah, I wish that our kids
Yeah.
could. Thank you, Tasha.
Oh,
Yeah, no, thank you for that bridge.
And,
I wish our kids could.
Yeah.
Sure.
One thing I wanted to share, and another thing that's just so great about it is, even for me, teaching in public school, and it's unfortunate, a lot of times as a public school teacher, when we hear that a student is coming from a private school, it starts to get like a negative stigma. Like it's automatic, like, oh man, they're going to be behind, you know? And so the great thing about it is, even as parents are thinking about making the decision to send them to Blue Ribbon, is those results. 100% of the kids are passing kindergarten. 100% of our kindergarten score the end of the first year or end of second grade in math, science, and social science. 100% of our kids leave and they're reading at grade 1 through 7, somewhere around there. 90% of our kids leave and they're in advanced placement classes. 100% of the kids master those good old memory scriptures. And so we have data to back up what we want to do. And so that's the great thing about it, because we don't want the Christian school or a school ran by Christians to have that connotation of, oh, they're just going to learn about God and be babysat, but we want them to know that, wow, when they leave that Christian school, they're going to be ahead of the game and not behind.
Exactly.
So it's just awesome to be a part of it, and to really keep adding to the curriculum to keep it moving forward.
So you said that when kids came from private school, the public school would look at them in a negative way, like they were going to be behind?
Yes.
I would think it would be the other way around.
I would think that too.
Yeah,
But
I know.
Because there are a lot of kids, I think, that go to, because the standards sometimes in private schools can be so
can
varied.
be different. Yeah.
Right.
And-
It's not monitored and it's not regulated like the state. Yeah.
And so here's what's interesting and really mind-blowing is both of you have taught in the public school setting.
Yeah.
You're a public school principal that's achieved the highest level in a public school setting.
Right.
And you are an educator that's taught at multiple different levels in a public school setting. So you understand the world they're going to.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And you're
Absolutely.
preparing them on the front end
Yes.
to be spiritually, emotionally, relationally, intellectually prepared to excel.
Oh, yes.
And you have the data to back it up. So,
Yes.
I know there are a lot of us that are data driven.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that I would definitely encourage any parent that's trying to make this decision, or any family that's thinking about starting and having more children,
Just to send to school.
just to send to school. Because I'll be real with you, Tasha.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, I wish we had Blue Ribbon back when we were getting out and started with Makai and Journey, so that's what makes me so excited about this. But everything we do here on the Greater Everyday Podcast is informed by faith.
Mhm.
So we got to look at a scripture.
Absolutely.
We got to look at a scripture.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to look
Come
at
on.
one verse of one scripture that I know you guys know. This is probably one of your memory verses. It's in Proverbs 22:6. Proverbs 22:6.
All right.
And Dr. Shelia, I would like to ask you if you could read Proverbs 22:6 for us.
Start children off on the way they should go. And even when they are old, they will not turn from it.
There you go.
Yes.
So how you start really matters.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and nobody knows what happens in the middle.
Right.
We've all made our decisions where we've gotten off the path.
Mhm.
We've turned and not gone the
Oh,
right
yes.
way. But how you start a child off has a huge impact on how they end.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And what's going on with our communities right now, there are a lot of kids that are in homes with a lot of anxiety,
Mhm.
with a lot of fear, with a lot of apprehension, with a lot of doubt. There are a lot of kids that were born during the pandemic
Right.
and haven't, parents are now making decisions about the first time their kid is going to go to
Yes.
school
Mhm.
And be
And-
around other kids.
is going to be
Yes.
during the pandemic. And
Mhm.
I just want to ask one last question, because as Anton said, we're going to definitely have you guys back, because y'all can open up a whole bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
We could talk about the proton laser for just like a whole hour, and we could talk about like there were like 20 subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely parenting. But I just want to ask one question. Did y'all close during the pandemic?
No, we were
So
at
how does that work? How do you keep little children
Mhm.
coming to
Right.
coming to school during the pandemic, and how does that inform how a family who's gone through the pandemic would
Mhm.
feel about coming to this preschool,
Mhm.
during the, as we kind
As
of
we
move
open
forward?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at reopening. Yes, we never closed. Actually, we were a first responder school.
Okay.
And so making sure that we're keeping all of the children
Mm.
safe.
Okay.
We were not vaccinated at the time, but of course, as soon as that we could be, all of our teachers, we're all vaccinated now. But
Mhm.
we followed the CDC guidelines in terms of making our class sizes. We went wider instead of more kids in a classroom.
Mhm.
And so we needed to be 6 feet apart. So we set everything to be 6 feet apart.
Mhm.
Whether they were learning time, they did not share. It was difficult for them because we've been teaching them to share, be
Mhm.
loving, be kind.
Mhm.
Now, don't touch.
Mhm.
So that was hard for them,
Mhm.
not touching each other and sharing their supplies.
Mhm.
Everyone had to have their own and names on it and lots of hand washing. And so we're a school that we don't believe in wearing shoes in the classroom. So kids sit on the floor a lot. And so you come from outside, lots of things are on the ground,
Mhm.
and you take those same shoes and you bring them in the room. And so
Mm.
all those germs. So we have never worn shoes
Hmm.
in our classrooms.
Hmm.
They are left at the door.
Mhm.
Kids go in and their slippers or their socks.
Mhm.
And so keeping everything as clean as possible, using hand sanitizer with the aloe vera moisturizer in it,
Mhm.
just making sure,
Mm.
because, the
But
eczema, we have
Man,
lots
that's-
of different
No extra kids.
conditions,
Yes.
Yeah.
Dry your hands out.
But yeah, but making sure.
Smell it too.
And we are parents would always say, you guys are the cleanest school ever. You
Mm.
can smell it when you come through the door.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's from my dad. My
Okay.
father taught
Mm.
us to clean thoroughly.
Right.
Mm.
And so that is something that has never been beneath me. It's like when I'm in that school, I'm cleaning.
Mhm.
If I see a spot, I'm getting the mop and I'm taking care of that myself.
Mm.
But the teachers know, and I love the director. I mean, she is just as I am in terms
Mm.
of cleanliness.
Mhm.
And so that place is just, even Kohl's, but they wear masks. So our kids, 2.5 and up, we
Mhm.
taught them. I wrote specific lessons for the teachers
Mhm.
to engage the children, and they played hide and go seek, Mama May I, all those different ways to be able to think it's the coolest and fun thing to put on the mask.
Wow.
And so that took about 3 to 4 months, especially the 2.5-year-olds.
Mhm.
And now, if I walk in that classroom, Dr. Holas, where's your mask?
Mhm.
You need your mask on.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, yes, you two little 2.5-year-olds.
Mhm.
Yes.
But yes, so we follow the CDC guidelines.
Mhm.
And we didn't waive, we were like making sure you do this. So our parents, it was different for them. They
Mhm.
were not able to come in the hallways and be around other people's children.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we have, what do you call that? Horse, the little
We
thingy.
use we use Brightwheel software, and so it allowed them to do like the contactless check-in and check out for their kids.
Yes.
So we just have QR codes up on the windows. They can scan, sign, or if another family member's coming, we have a tablet where they can
Yes.
put their code in.
They're getting me on my
Also, it allows it so they
try
can.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So,
Containing it.
they communicate with the teachers and all that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
so it's clean.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Very
It's
clean.
safe.
You've never
Safe,
closed.
yes.
Never
Y'all are
closed.
using technology.
People
Yeah.
wear
The
masks.
The children are learning
wear
the Bible.
masks.
Right. Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
aloe vera in the
Aloe
hand
vera.
sanitizer.
That's
Yes.
right. It's
Yes.
important. Muy importante. Yeah.
And
Yes.
y'all doing it in different languages.
Yes.
Yes. And religions. I
And-
mean,
yeah.
that is amazing to us because
Right.
we do not have all Christians.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's faith-based, but it's not
Muslim.
faith-biased. So
Right.
Yeah,
folks in the
it's-
Muslim community,
Everyone.
Sikh community, everybody's welcome.
Everybody is
Definitely.
welcome. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody is welcome.
Okay.
And, you know,
Mhm.
it's about love,
He
That's
is.
right. He is.
compassion,
Right.
love, kindness, gentleness.
Mm.
So that doesn't mean, you know, you have to have or claim. We know who Jesus is. We
Mhm.
know who God is.
Mhm.
And we know what he represents.
Mhm.
And that's what's most important to us, to
Right.
be that model for that.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
we have all faiths there, which is great. All
Awesome.
faiths.
Awesome.
And they learn to love one another. They learn to share and be giving, compassion. And it's just an amazing place to be.
Mm.
Wow.
Every inspector who has come into our building, they love it there. They're like, we're not supposed to do this, but this place is different.
Awesome.
Mm.
It feels different. They like to sit to the classroom and listen to the kids sing.
Wow.
But yes.
Can I ask one question before we leave? Before we get out,
Okay,
I know,
okay.
I know we're up against it. I
Okay.
know. I got to ask you guys one question because you guys have a unique experience coming from. Where's the disconnect? Like where, like you saw something
Mhm.
and you were at the top of your game,
Right.
and you still said, I'm gonna go create my own thing, even though it was gonna be harder,
Mhm.
even though you were gonna have to
They both were.
take
It's
more
crazy.
control
Oh, yeah.
over things. It's gonna be a ton more work instead of just going in and sitting down and doing what you need to do. But you
Right.
still created your own thing
Total cut
for
and
the-
pay.
for the
Oh, yeah.
for the people who are past that.
Right.
we still have seventh graders that we're trying to deal with.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right. Where is the between private and public? Where is the something's missing?
Right.
You know, and I don't want you to.
Well,
I don't-
that's
I don't-
another
I-
podcast.
Yes, it's killing me. I gotta ask.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
gotta
Yes.
ask. I gotta ask.
And I think
Right.
we'd love to hear your initial answer.
Yes,
Mhm.
But I
Yes.
do want to say I think this is a beautiful bridge
Yeah.
into maybe a couple weeks from now, maybe
Yes.
2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
even. Let's come back and answer that question
Yes.
because
Mhm.
there's something missing. And I
Mm.
think we have a moment in education right now to do
Mhm.
something different.
Right.
And what you're
Yes.
describing is that something different that could
Exactly.
happen.
Were you
Right.
guys ever closed?
No.
They never closed.
No.
No.
We never closed.
They never closed.
No.
They never closed.
We had more kids signed up. The waiting list got bigger.
Mm.
Yes. Yes. So we received
I know.
Kinda like-
EMT, the
Kinda like
doctors, the
online
nurses.
services, huh?
Yes. No, it was interesting because some of our parents were very afraid. And so, you know, they kept their children home until we made the call to say, if you're not coming back, we're going to go ahead and give your spot to someone who needs it.
Mhm.
And they're like, no. Can I just pay for it until I feel, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we had parents who just wanted to pay to hold their spot. So when they felt comfortable, you know, with their children going back to school. But yes, oh my goodness. And my daughter-in-law, her classroom is always the fullest classroom. Although other
yeah.
classrooms have gone down like to 5 kids, hers went up to like 13 kids. It's like, what's going on here? So we would have to split up her children just to be able to stay in that, you know, in the COVID guidelines.
Yeah.
But yes,
All right,
it's
I'll
a
climb
great
down now.
place.
Yeah, no,
Fine.
no.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
But we
Honestly,
talked about that a little bit, that knowing and doing gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I would definitely like to say, though, I remember, you know, being in public school and my teachers definitely knew what to do. And it wasn't that, you know, they didn't want to do what they knew what to do. So it's higher than our pay grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
unless you rebuild the system from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
To-
so
to-
And
to
there's
this
a lot of
scientist
systemic
perspective,
things that are going.
going
Yeah.
back to
Yes.
formula. So that's
Right.
what you're doing here.
Yes.
So you're going
Yeah.
back to formula. You're going back.
Yes.
You're going back to preschool where
Absolutely.
it starts,
Yes.
and you're fixing it from the beginning.
Absolutely. And
And
don't
I think
wait.
I was just going to say, and I think the important part is about even having the kids at Blue Ribbon is even being at a public school, we would prefer a smaller amount of kids, but it's public school, so you can't, you don't have that choice. And we have a lot of different problems that come into the classroom that we have to deal with. And so you have teachers who are really trying their best to make sure everybody learns. But that great thing is when you have a school like Blue Ribbon that sets the kids up for success, if they're in a big classroom, if they're in a small classroom, if there are distractions in their classroom, if there are not distractions in the classroom, they've been given that autonomous ability to operate in a classroom. And so the problems, we're not really going to get rid of those anytime soon, once they start to go to public school and go up. But we can do the best that we can before they get there to make sure whatever situation that they're in, they're able to thrive. And then also helping to equip their parents so they're with them along the way as they're in school as well.
Right. So a lot of parent training, and we have parents that even come and train parents. So yes.
Yeah, that's going to be the name of that podcast. That second one.
That one. I know. So here's the thing. Y'all didn't open up a whole bunch of stuff. So please check out the show notes for everybody that's on Facebook and YouTube. We're super grateful you join us to be a part of this conversation. Check out the show notes. Find out more about Blue Ribbon. Feel free to check them out. Reach out to them directly. Really amazing stuff. There are so many great resources that the state is making available in terms of like financial support. So many great resources that are out there, but it really does come down to great leadership. And so we here at the Greater Everyday Podcast just want to thank you both for your example, for your leadership, for your sacrifice, for your willingness to step away at the top of your game. To step away at the top of your game and to decide, all right, we're going to go back to formula. We're going to start at the beginning and get it right. And so we're really excited for the launch of this new location here in Dumfries in Prince William County. 37 days, 36 days, and a couple hours coming down. And so we're definitely going to be praying for God to move in a great way. Thank you so much for being on. We will definitely have them on a whole lot more. Ask you more questions. But it's been real having you guys on the Greater Everyday Podcast. As always, this is a place where we talk about the real issues. And the real issues we're talking about today is our future. It's all about our kids. Stay cool, stay real. And we pray that every day for you is a greater day.
Amen.
Good night, folks.
Peace.
Good night.